What's up folks, it's 2bricks and I'm back with another review from the August wave of LEGO Star Wars. This is the Onyx Cinder. It is a 1,325 piece set that is, in my opinion, pretty good, but also lacking a little bit. So definitely an interesting one to discuss today. It's got a lot to it. It's a fairly bulky thing. And yeah, I'm just really excited to kind of dive into all the nitty-gritty details and show you guys all of the features and little kind of oddities about this model that make it, in my opinion, just shy of really, really good. So yeah, we're going to take a look at that, and then we're going to also take a look at the minifigures today as well, of course, in detail. These are all brand new characters, so it's very exciting to see that. And then I'll give you my thoughts if there's any interesting spares or anything like that, or anything of note about the stickers or instruction manuals. We'll quickly go through all that stuff. But the main thing we're here to look at today is this big, weird gray blob of a ship in front of us, the Onyx Cinder. So let's dive in and take a look. Hey guys, future me here. Sorry the audio for this section got deleted, so I'm just going to quickly talk over it. So basically, the interesting parts you can see here are at the bottom of the screen. We have a couple of interesting round tiles, a printed cookie piece, a couple of the gunmetal gray lightsabers, and one of those nice musket pieces also in gunmetal gray. So those are kind of the cool spares there. And then I was just noting that the sticker sheet here had 8 of these round stickers that personally I feel like could have been replaced with a pre-existing print that LEGO already has for a round turbine engine kind of a thing, and that we did not need to apply these 8 separate stickers ourselves here for the little engine inner turbine pieces. But they're kind of hidden away. And they're fairly easy to apply if you use your brick separator, so it's not a big deal. And then these stickers on the top here, I was just remarking that the round tan color one there is for the table. The others are for windows and other kind of important paneled elements, so those did need to be there, but those 8 rounded ones definitely could have been skipped. So that was that. And I had a very odd occurrence with my instruction manual. Even though they have been wrapping these in cardboard recently to keep them nice and secure, I had several ripped and missing pages right here in the middle of the instruction manual. Luckily, I'm not one of those people who keeps my instruction books in pristine condition or anything like that, and I just downloaded the digital builder app that LEGO offers for free. Just follow the link on the QR code here to get that, and it basically just gives you the same exact thing but in PDF form. So I was able to see the missing pages, but man, that was a weird occurrence. Again, never happened to me before, but this felt like it got chewed up by a printer, or like dropped on the factory floor and run over with a forklift or something. Who knows? But yeah, that was an odd occurrence. All right, and here is the ship itself. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that the ship is going to be really, really massive in the show. Much, much, much larger than it's depicted as being here. And that is going to help to clarify some of the shaping and things that we're seeing here that seem a little bit muddled, a little bit confusing. This thing feels, it's hard to get a grasp on it, right? It's sort of flat on the top, but it has a lot of little subtle facets and curves and angles to it that are weird, like this little bit of slopiness to the back that all just sort of bleeds into everything else here. So it is a tough one to kind of get a quick read on and say, oh, okay, that's the shape of this thing, right? But what I've heard is that this is an homage to 80s filmmaking, the Skeleton Crew show is. So what I realized very quickly is that this is simply the DeLorean from Back to the Future flipped upside down, even to the extent of having this action feature under here where the engines will flip horizontal in order to do flight and then landing mode, very much like what the tires on the DeLorean time machine will do. But yeah, if you flip it over this way, and as I was building it, I was like, this feels very much like an upside down DeLorean, and maybe that's what they're going for. We'll see, I guess. But I just thought it was a cool observation, and it helped me to kind of make sense of it. So I think from the lower angles, which is probably where a lot of the angles we'll be seeing in the show, the boarding ramp at the front here and back, and these sloping up kind of side panels here, just make it a little bit more sense, and you can kind of get a grasp on it. So I do overall quite like the shape of the thing. I think it feels like a pirate ship that belongs in the scenes from The Mandalorian, where the pirate, what was his name, Vane? The seaweed guy, his fleet had this kind of color scheme, so I'm assuming that this Skeleton Crew ship has something to do with that. It's tied into that whole storyline somehow. And it makes sense that this thing would be absolutely armed to the teeth. You got spring-loaded shooters, or stud shooters off to the side here. This here, you have 2 bubble turrets here and there. And then underneath here, you have another set of point defense turrets. guns up at the front, and then a sort of a grabby claw looking item. I'm not really super sure what that does, but it looks like it would be for sort of grabbing onto salvage or things of that sort. So it definitely feels like that chaotic pirate energy is present here, and so that's cool. So it's always a fun thing when we get to see a new hero ship in Star Wars represented in Lego and see how they're going to interpret it. This little kind of side pod off to the side here, which acts as the cockpit, is interesting. It has a depiction of windows up at the front here, which are used with stickers. So there's some there, and there. And this very clearly feels like it's going to act as an escape pod or something that can come off separately, although watch me be completely wrong about that. I've been wrong about that in the past. But yeah, the way that this is depicted is a little bit awkward because you have these windows here don't sit symmetrically, and I feel like they're meant to, but then you wouldn't get to see most of the design of that because it would be buried on the inside of this assembly. So I don't know. We'll see how this is depicted in the show, but essentially this feels like a little escape pod off to the side that also functions as the cockpit. So we have a couple of little consoles down in there. Those are also using stickers, and that's where your pilot would sit. So yeah, it's a very oddly configured thing, but let's take a look at some of the action features that are present here and the ways in which this thing can be interacted with. So the big one, as you guys have probably already seen, is the engines flipping back and forth, and it's very nice. It works very, very reliably, and it's extremely simple. It's literally just a long Technic beam, well, it's multiple beams connected together that connect to a rotation point here, and then this just slides that beam back and forth, and then it just tilts and rotates the axles that are connected. So you can actually move the engines. Any of them will activate it side to side like that, and they all go. Now, do I think that this is worth, essentially the top entire half of this build is dedicated to the space required for that to happen. I'll get into that later, but no, I don't really think it's worth it. I actually think that it would be fine if these were connected just with a simple axle that ran through, and then these were connected with a simple axle that ran through the front there, and then you just did them independently, but you had a lot more playable and openable space up in the top here, because none of this stuff on top, with the exception of the crew or the cockpit hatch here, none of this can be opened. We have the door here to allow a little bit of access onto the interior, but all of the roof and stuff is built on here and it's designed to stay put. So that is a little bit of a disappointment for a playset, and that's probably the biggest ding that I'm going to give this when we get into the actual interior space here in a second. So we have a little bit of posable little cannons down in here, or what I presume to be cannons, or possibly antenna or something like that. We have the 1, 2, 3, 4 stud shooters here, here, and here. And I like the way that they, oh sorry, there's actually 6, there's 2 more here. I like the way that they mounted this to be kind of level. So it's just a clever little assembly in there with the hinge brick to keep it level. And then we have our accessible interior in here. So we have some nice yellow bricks in here to indicate lights and things. And then we have what looks to be a pretty nice interior. So we have a little kitchen area off to the side there with a stove and presumably a little jar or bottle with some food items in it. We have this nice little table that sort of looks like a VHS tape spool a little bit there. And we have a little bunk that is tucked way inside of here. And then when you go around to the other side, you can actually open up this underside here. Gives you access to the little storage area here, which is meant to be for all of the kids to put their flashlight looking devices. You're supposed to put all those in here in a rack, and then you can also see here the backs of the seats that were normally, functioning as seat backs there, fold away with the wall. So that's kind of a good use of space. I like the way that they made it feel like these here would have seat backs as well, if it wasn't for the fact that it's just going to take up all of your usable space there. But the idea, I think, is supposed to be that there's 4 comfy chairs in there and then a little crew cabin off to the front here. Very, very difficult to access this. So that's probably my most majorest ding for this entire playset, is that to be a playset, you really want to be able to get in here and place your figures and, play around with them. And for me, as an adult with big size hands, it's probably exacerbated, but I cannot imagine kids either having a good time getting in here and trying to place figures and actually have like a play scenario where they can really imagine what's happening inside the ship, because it's so low down and it's so tucked away. And so I think for play, the interior that they have is nice, but you really can't make the best use of it, and that's kind of a major issue that I think is probably gonna be the theme of this video, is nice ideas that in their execution didn't really pan out. I do like these solid landing legs that are in here, so you can very much pick this up and just plop it down, and it's very stable on its landing gear. So these are very much built into the ship and don't go anywhere, but I have to imagine that in the show these will be retractable in some fashion, but they look really good. I like the use of these barrel pieces, and the skid feet here look very nicely finished off. But the lack of a carrying handle, like this feels like it wants to be a carrying handle, makes this, again, another thing that for younger kids will be hard to play with, because you can grab it in the back here. It's heavy, but you can do it. And you can kind of grab it around the sides, and you might sort of accidentally squash a panel out of alignment or something and have to put it back. So some of these panels in here are a little bit loose. So this one, and this one are all a little bit loose. This one down here did pop off on me once, but it's basically situated and it's designed to stay here at this angle, so that's not too bad. But yeah, as kids are playing, I feel like they may knock off sort of semi-major sections of the build and then have to get an adult to help to put it back. So that might be something that's a little bit annoying for play. But if you're letting kids that are a little bit older, sort of in the 10 plus range, play with this, they're probably going to be a little bit more careful with it, maybe. Who knows? But I think just overall, it sort of doesn't have that rugged rigidity that most play sets of this scale would want to have. But also you'd be losing a lot of the shaping that you are getting on this if you tried to make it more of a brick than it is. So I think that the balance is just about right. It's just these parts up here worry me a little bit because they're just a little bit loose. This part under here is kind of pinched into place by this engine assembly. So it's held in with a single Technic pin, and then this kind of pushes into place and holds it here. But again, it feels like if you just get your finger under there wrong, like if you're trying to access the openable hatch under here, which I still haven't even showed you guys yet, that you may pop off some of these panels. But yeah, again, being able to access this with the double opening doors here is the best part, I think, for me, the best use of this interior space. But this bunk in here being virtually inaccessible is really, really annoying. So let me show you down at the front here. There is a little hatch, so you can get your finger under here. Okay. There you go. So it's kind of hard to access, but again, it's more of the idea of a ramp, and you could fit one of your kid figures under here, just about showing that they have space to get in there, but it's not really a very usable space at all. And then you kind of can't really reach in here to pull the bunk out. You kind of have to, like, it's just awkward is what I guess I'm getting at. Let me try to pull this bunk out for you, so in a separate shot off camera, so you don't have to just see my big hand. Oh, there you go. Okay, I got it. Never mind. Okay, so yes, we have this removable bunk here where they have the nice little indication of the cover being folded over. I really like that. So the idea being you would place your figure onto the bed and then just slide it into place here and then click it onto the available studs. But see, again, the feeling is it's just awkward. Yeah, so this whole, due to the fact that this Technic beam has to run through here and create a lot of support around the edges of this mechanism, that I think is creating a situation where this is the ceiling is so low down that's just hampering play a lot. And then in the back here we have sort of a opening cargo door situation, so back hatch, and then you can basically lift this down and get your crates to be flat on the ground. I do like the way that this looks. I like the double hinged doorway that we have here. That's really cool. And then it's just attached here with a couple of single jumper studs, so nice and easy to offload your cargo. And I do appreciate the little bit of anti-tiles under here to keep that as smooth as reasonably possible. So in this one we have what looks like a Melu run, so I think this is the same exact build that was in the official Ghost set, so that's cool. Maybe the crew of the Onyx Cinder enjoys fruit from Lothal. And then also we have a smaller crate here which has a single cookie in it, so I'm guessing there's going to be a heartwarming scene where the kids are scared and they dive into the supplies and absolutely stuff their faces to feel better and eat a bunch of cookies and candies and whatnot. So there's those, and then those again, just you have to kind of double hinge this down to be able to then load your palette up and then place it back inside the ship. And yeah, again, you know, due to the construction of this, it is solid. You can grab the ship here and you can actually lift it up. You can swoosh it. But trying to use this as a playable space, you're just going to load your cargo here and you're going to put it back. You can't use it as an actual like entrance way into the ship, which, you know, is a shame. I'm sounding very negative. I'm honestly not that negative about this. I think that what's here is a lot of really nicely executed ideas and building techniques. The interior of this has a ton of really, really nice building techniques to it to achieve certain shapes and angles that I was actually very impressed by. It felt very adult and deluxe. You know, I was not bored at all during the build experience of this, but I'm just looking at it from the perspective of a functioning toy, right? And I'm just feeling like it's just not quite hitting the mark for me. So let's take a look at the figs that you get with this. So first up we have Jod, and he's sort of the adult of the group. This is Jude Law's character in the show. He's got sort of an interesting sort of a space coat situation. He's got you can kind of see the interior of that there, the material coming through a little bit. And then he's got the scarf as well. And I like that they gave him the widow's peak. It's very accurate to Jude Law, although that does make me sad a little bit. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he should have this sort of more old man looking hair. That's how I associate the Lego piece, but it is undeniably accurate. But we have some kind of fairly dull gray printing for his shirt, and I'm going to assume that his shirt is gray and not supposed to be white because the flesh tone there is actually pretty nice and opaque and crisp. So I'm going to assume that this is meant to be a gray shirt that he's wearing, not just a very poorly printed white. I like that he has this old-timey musket. And then here also in the back we have the little bit of detailing for the sort of material of the coat coming through. And he does come with his scarf as well. So he looks very, very cozy and very snug. He looks like somebody who appreciates the value of being warm and comfortable. And then he's also got his sort of mad expression. So I'm guessing these kids are going to be driving him crazy and he's going to be having to get a little bit mad. Although he's kind of mad by default. So yeah, looks like a very annoyed and put upon character to me, as I guess anybody would be if you were lost in space with a bunch of kids that are trying to find their way home and probably getting on your nerves. So there is Jod. And then next up we have, I think it's Wim or Wime. No, I'm gonna say Wim. And yeah, we have the first of our color-coded flashlights here. That's cool. I like the hairpiece here. That looks very nice. I always love these very detailed hair pieces. That just looks great. Simple printing for the jacket, but it looks very cool. It almost gives me like Resistance jacket kind of vibes to it. Very Star Warsy, very nice. That kind of classic leather or pleather jacket that a lot of characters in Star Wars like to wear. And he's got the medium length legs, so this is supposed to be a teenager, I guess. And also we see the walkie-talkie, and the combination of the flashlight and walkie-talkie is already giving me 80s movie vibes out the wazoo. So they're not even having to try very hard for that. So so there's him. I like, oh wait, let's see the alternate expression. So yeah, he's got the sort of Stranger Things, Harry Potter, like, you know, monsters are coming at us and we're scared kids and we're going to run away type of a face here too. And that's really great. This almost feels like a Harry Potter figure to me, actually, in terms of the design on the face. But yeah, so I really like that one. Next up here is KB, and another one with the teenager style of legs, and this time with the red flashlight. I really like this visor situation. I don't think it's like meant to be an implant or anything like that, unless it's a retractable thing. But you can see here her eyes are visible in the alternate face. And then, yeah, so I'm thinking that this maybe goes right into this little implant thing on the side here and just tucks away, or it's just simply removable. But that's a really cool look. You know, junior Lady Cyclops here, that's great. She's got a couple of little kind of what look like code cylinders for Imperials tucked away in her pockets there. And yeah, some, you know, decent detailing. We have a little bit of stitch work and a little bit of fabric patterning, but nothing crazy. These are all kind of simplified looking figs, and I don't particularly mind it. And this is Fern, so another character named after earth plants. So we have Rose, Rose Tico, and we have Fern now. So let's keep that going. I like it. Let's get like Orchid and Lily, and let's get all the flower names. Yellow flashlight on this one. Again, really giving me the Harry Potter vibes with this hairpiece and face look, and even the uniform. If I just like squint and sort of hold her a little bit away from me, I get Harry Potter vibes big time. But yeah, I really like all the little badges and medals and things. This looks like somebody who, again, I know nothing about the show. The trailer hasn't even come out yet, but this looks like somebody who like misses her dad and wears her dad's oversized jacket with all of his medals from the wartime that he was in to remind her, or something like that. I've, again, no idea, just pure pure guesswork. But yeah, I really like the range of colors for the medium legs that we're getting here. So we have, you know, the tan, dark gray, and dark brown. So very, very useful figures, and no specialized printing on these, so you can definitely swap them out in a bunch of scenarios. And then we have what's sure to be the breakout star of the show. We have the baby blue elephant. I forgot the name of the species with the orange flashlight here. This is Neil, so that's spelled N-E-E-L to make it Star Warsy. Neil's got some really nice overalls here that, again, very kind of 80s, 90s style. I like all the metallic printing for the buckles and things. And he's got some gadgets back here, so, you know, maybe some communication devices, or maybe some kind of space water canteen, who knows. But the detailing, again, in the print, the outlines feel very nice and crisp. The coloring is simple but effective, and the sculpt for this headpiece is fantastic. All the little wrinkles around the trunk, the way that they got the eyes printed, and the kind of sad downward-looking expression indicated with those little white dots kind of looking downward. It just, I mean, come on, how can you not want to hug this thing? This is so cute. Yeah, really, really impressed with this figure. I like this one a whole bunch, and like I said, surely this is going to be a fan favorite character. So there's the lineup. I do think that there's somebody missing though, which is, we've heard about the droid SM33 or SME, played by Nick Frost. We don't get that droid here. Hopefully we don't have to wait too long to get that character, who again is sure to be a hit with the fans due to the fact that Nick Frost is voicing him. He's a wonderful actor. And then also I think that the young Leia figure would have fit perfectly in this set rather than in the droid builder set that she actually came in. I think that this set is kind of a hard sell because it's kind of aimed at teens, the actual ship is, and the show itself seems to be aiming at sort of more preteens and family audiences. So I think including a exclusive Leia figure in here would have helped to boost people who are a little bit worried about picking this one up to be able to kind of push them over the line. Whereas the droid builder set, I think, was just it was an odd place to include that particular figure. And, you know, given the fact that this is a very kid-heavy IP, Kid Leia would have fit in right into this scene perfectly, and you could have even just imagined her as another member of the crew. You know, if you just don't care about the story of the show, you could just be like, yeah, there's another kid along for the adventure, you know? So to me, that was an odd decision, but hey, I'm not a marketing genius. I don't know these things. And before I wrap things up, I just wanted to try to actually take all of the figures and place them in the scene in the way that I think that they're intended to be, kind of all together in one space. So I'm going to go ahead and put Jod here onto the bed and place him inside. So I'm going to try to do it in real time so you can see how frustrating it is. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to open up this back door here so you can see a little bit better. And then we'll place Neil here in the back. So Neil has the baby short legs, so he has to stand up. I'm going to go ahead and try to sit him or stand him up in this seat back here. So I'm using two hands. He doesn't want to go. Okay, I'll just stud him down on the one seat of the cushion. And then we'll go ahead and place KB here in the front. So her flashlight, I guess, we'll remove that. And sit her down in the seat here. The bed is kind of getting in the way, so I'll just have to tuck her arm out of the way. And then, yeah, there you go. And then also we'll remove the flashlight for this one too. So fun. We'll go in the seat opposite here. I'm going to place her facing this way just to vary it up a little bit. Okay, and then lastly, take the accessories off. I'll try to place Whim into the back here. Oh boy. So if you haven't gotten the point of what I'm trying to say, yet, it is that I think playing with this thing and arranging your figures in here in any kind of meaningful play scenario is awkward and frustrating and hard. So yeah, that's my major takeaway from the set, is that I wish that was not so challenging. Okay, so this set is $139.99 and it comes with 1,325 pieces. So on paper, price to part ratio feels good. The amount of figures that you get here feels about right. I mean, if there were any more figures, you literally wouldn't have anywhere to put them. Maybe a bad guy of the show, you know, whatever we end up getting, an evil pirate or an evil robot or whoever it ends up being, it would be nice to have had some sort of adversarial something, so that there was a little bit more play that could happen between sort of, you know, all these guns, right? There's everything to shoot, but there's nothing to shoot at. So that one extra figure or one extra sort of bad guy drone ship, anything would have really put this over the top, I think. But I think that the budget was used well here in terms of fleshing out this ship. The angles that they've achieved using various different exciting and interesting techniques on the inside are very satisfying, and I think building this thing was a lot of fun. It's just that the kind of final result looks a little bit messy and the play doesn't work out super well. So, but I think as a display piece, this actually looks pretty good, and I think kids who end up watching the show and becoming fans of it, especially if it's like their first Star Wars experience and they end up falling in love with this show, are going to be very happy to have this and swoosh it around. And again, the ruggedness of just being able to place it down on the landing gear, and you can see here I'm picking it up from the part that I was worried about stressing the most, and I can feel it bowing a little bit under my fingers here, but it's not breaking. So yeah, so it does work, and this is nice. You know, this action feature feels very smooth. I just worry about the cost that it has delivered to the set as a whole, for what amounts to a cool gimmick that you're going to do a few times and then probably not do that much. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting question, I guess. But if you see this ship and you think this looks super cool and you want to have it in your collection, I don't think you're getting a bad deal here at all. And I think that the figs are all really nice, especially if this ends up being the full crew. Although I do suspect that that robot I mentioned is going to end up being important. But it would be nice to get another smaller set to go along with this. Maybe, like I said, the bad guy ship. It may end up being that if the pirates are the bad guys, that we've already gotten a small enemy craft to go with this, with the Mandalorian pirate starfighter set from a little while ago. So I don't know, maybe that'll be a good accompaniment to this. We'll have to see when the show comes out. But it's interesting. I'm a little bit frustrated because I like this. I like so much of this so much, but the parts that don't work really hamper it, in my opinion. So that's kind of where I have to leave it, I guess. But yeah, you may have a different experience, especially if you're somebody who appreciates interesting build techniques. There's a bunch of them in here, and especially interesting ways of attaching panels and things. It almost reminded me of like an AT-TE type of a build, or really any of LEGO's Walker builds that have a lot of interesting, snug fits for panels that come together very satisfyingly. So all of that is really nice. It really is just that interior being so hard to access that's giving me the biggest pause of all, and also the two front and back ramps not being particularly useful, really just there for show. It almost gives me vibes of the recent Ghost set, where it felt like it was close but not quite, and this is also giving me that kind of close but not quite feel a little bit. Also, I didn't mention this little rotating satellite dish, I guess, but yeah, that's a thing. So there you go. Mixed thoughts on this one, but I did very much enjoy building it, and I really do like these figures. So I'm hoping that the show is really good. So I'm hearing rumors that the trailer's coming out very soon, so we'll all kind of see what we think, I guess, and see what we're in store for, and hopefully this is going to be a really cool, memorable ship on screen that will kind of help to boost the value of your purchase by making it be something that's cool and iconic, and not just lame and forgettable. So we'll see. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for tuning into this long review. I had a lot of complicated feelings I had to work through about this set, and thank you for sticking with me if you have up until this point. I will get to work on the next review because there are a lot more that I want to bring you in the next few days. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and may the force be with you.